Kevin and Christine, this is Grace Kim from NextShark. Thanks for speaking with me today.
Good to see you again, Grace.
I love NextShark.
Yeah, are you in Korea still?
No, I'm not. I'm back in New York. Christine, I have to say, I was excited to hear that you were going to be with Anna originally, or that Anna was supposed to join us, because I know that last season you guys were sort of separated, and I wanted to know if that was like an intentional move, and whether, you being together now, whether that would have meant that you're okay now. No?
I actually requested to have her with us.
Gosh, I think she's just sleeping in right now, Grace. Like,
she doesn't
really
usually
early.
wake up before like 3 or 5 p.m. I don't hold any grudges. I think life's too short to hold grudges, although she did say a lot of not so nice things to my face and, of course, behind my back. But I didn't do anything to her, so I can sleep peacefully. My conscience is clear. And, I like to resolve things. I don't like to leave things lingering, and I don't like to have strange awkwardness. So, yeah, I wish she would wake up so we can, have this chat together. We didn't socialize before the show, and, on the show, the producers really wanted us to get together, and I obliged and attempted, and as you can see in season 2, both attempts were unfortunately confronted with some aggression on her end. So I can only try so much. But again, I lead my own life. I'm a mom. I'm a busy mom of a toddler. I run a business. I have projects and some philanthropy commitments. And so when she's ready, if she's ever ready, I am happy to have another, talk with her.
Philanthropy.
But I think something about me triggers something in her, and I can't kind of quite pin it down. And maybe she doesn't know either. So maybe it'll never be resolved.
What about between you two? Because especially in season 3, you can really tell that you guys have like this sort of steady relationship throughout the whole series. The whole younger brother, big sister dynamic. Is what we're seeing like actually what's happening in real life?
Wait, younger sister, older brother, right?
I don't like you anymore, Grace. She's even wearing diamonds. Mixed, whatever.
I've always wanted a sibling.
Well, this is actually the relationship we had years ago when I first moved to Los Angeles. I remember my first week being here, and actually we went out quite a bit.
Yeah, we went hiking.
Hikes. She tried to set me up with dates. It's just like, I think it's now just being shown now because, obviously her and I both got a little bit
Trashed.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Definitely shaken up by the whole friend dynamic, and I just think we started to hang out even more. And I think that I think sometimes when you're so caught up with your friends, you forget other friends for a little bit.
You forgot me?
Well, not forgot, but you've always been there. But it's just more like we had our crew, and we were the party people or whatever, and it was cool. You're more of the fine diner experience.
Are you digging a hole?
Yeah. Anyway, so this is actually who we are together at the times. Minus the Paris. That was our first time going to Paris together.
Yeah, that was fun. That was so
fun.
much fun. Like I could do that for the rest of the seasons, just taking you, we talked about it, like I would take you all over the world my way and you would take me on a skateboard like down the block.
Yeah, I would do my version of Paris or wherever we would go, like Philly or Lancaster or something. She would take me to her backyard or something.
Has he been forgiven for losing the Cartier ring?
That's
Forgiven?
right.
Wait.
Oh my God.
Yes, you're right, Grace. I have forgiven myself
right.
for losing my own Cartier ring. You're right.
That's right. I think I was supposed to get you a replacement one.
I forgot a long time ago.
That was a really long time ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh.
Kevin, so,
I'm so sad
in
now.
season 2, okay, we see this change where Kane calls you
a man whore.
And now in season 3, we get to see this different version of you, a monogamous Kevin.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've changed, and are you happy going in this direction?
I've always been somebody who's, when you're in a committed relationship, I'm all in. And like when I'm single, you date. I mean, I don't think, Cain practices a Buddhist philosophy where he almost practices no sex. So even like kissing someone is like, oh, but you're not in a relationship. It comes from like Buddhism and innocence too, but it's like, he calls me a man whore very unjustly. I think we all go through times of periods of like exploring sexuality and figuring things out. And for a long time, I thought I was going to be single for the rest of my life, actually. So I was like, why am I going to be good to myself? And that's a weird thing to say. Why am I going to wait for someone who might not ever happen? And I'm 39 now, so it's like I've been single for a long time. So I think in Kane's, whatever he said was very unjustified. I did have a little bit of a period. He did see it, but I also didn't think he would air out all of my shit, And I think it's very ironic because he's got a lot of shit to air out too. But as a friend, I keep it to myself because I know that would hurt him. And I don't think he thinks twice about that stuff. He thinks it's because it's Kane, he can say that kind of stuff. But I'm like, no, man, that really affects me. My mom was even hurt by it, and like it's very unjustified. And I thought like what was really crazy is, in his head it was justified because it was a shortened period of my life he was talking about. But, for us, I'm like, I think it's hypocritical. I have so much stuff I could air out to the world about you. He has secrets. And I kept it to myself. They might come out next season, but it's like, whatever he comes out with, I'll tell you, I kept that shut for my whole life. So I find it to be kind of a rude friend to air out my own stuff that way.
In season 3, we also saw this argument ensue because you were frustrated when Kane told you about his Fenty deal and whatnot. And do you feel like there's maybe like some sort of rift that you feel between you and the others because you see that they get to experience certain privileges that you don't get to?
Well, yeah, I was not just frustrated with Kane, I was also frustrated with Kelly because Kelly knows I'm a model. I expressed how I was struggling with things. To find out she it had Kane in mind as a model going down the runway where I was like, yo, this could help. And she always tells me how I'm always there for you. I'll do whatever. And I'm like, oh, will you? So that frustration just wasn't with Kane. It was more like, hey guys, where's the support? You know what I mean? Like I do a lot of things to help us all out. And I actually have very little comparatively to you all. And I just found that to be hurtful because I'm like, I was giving. I put myself out there. I try to do better for all of us, right? And to be so selfish and not thinking about me. And then Kane shoving in his face, not being a good friend to me for a little bit. And then doing this while I'm down in the dumps. I'm like, and then he wants me to feel good and celebrate with him. And I'm like, how can you expect me to right now, dude? That's like, kind of like, this is a bad example, I'll probably get killed for this, but that's like saying if my mom just died and then he's talking about all the great things him and his mom are gonna do together now today. And it's just like, dude, bad timing, you know what I mean?
Or turns around and spreads a rumor about you after you just...
Right.
And
I just think it's not very well thought out, and I just was really hurt by a lot of things. But so it led me into retiring from modeling and starting up new business ventures. So
sorry, I had to laugh.
To wrap up, I wanted to get to this one question for the both of you, because we see parts of New York, or we see a bit of a setting change between LA and New York in this next season. And one of the big conversations in the Asian American community, I feel like, is that there's such a big difference between East Coast Asians and West Coast Asians. So I was wondering if that was something that you experienced in your own circles.
I think East and West is very different. I mean, for instance, I find the laid backness here, and I'll get to the crap when I want to be very tough. I'm an East Coaster. It's an adjustment. But I do think there is a little bit too much ego pride in the New York/East Coast mentality, right? I think that's where we get a little bit of toxic hustle mentality. If you're not working 140 hours a week, you're lazy, And I think they're a little bit too, when they say they're brutally honest, but the problem is with brutality without love is just brutality, right? They just do it to hurt people, and they call it keeping it real, right? And there's no compassion, there's no humanity to it. It's just about making them feel better about themselves. And so like what I have a hard time with the East Coast mentality, because I used to come from there, is like, you're just an asshole a lot of times, you know? But like, also on the West Coast, it's a little bit too extreme. We're a little bit too much Care Bears. You know what I mean? Like, well, I think we should do.
I'm not a Care Bear. I think generally speaking, East and West Coast for me, like I don't know if I break it down to Asians versus non-Asians, but I think West Coast tends to be a little bit fluffier, and we like circumvent.
Care Bears.
Maybe a little bit more manipulative, whether malintentioned or not. And then East Coasters are just more direct. So, you know.
That's the West Coast fluffing it up.
That's actually very true. That's actually very true.
All right. Well, thank you so much. That's all the time I have left. But thank you so much for speaking with me. I hope you guys have a great day.
You too.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Ain't no shame in style.